The blazing heat of the sun shines in summer. Nasu, Karasuyama city of Tochigi Prefecture, is painted over in the colors of the festival. The season of the Yamaage festival, with a tradition that spans roughly 450 years, is here. The young men and women run about as fast as they can, dance splendidly and roar their voices as the sweat and tears flow. History and culture and the town and the people come together as one, and the Yama is raised high by the hands of the youth. Nasu, Karasuyama city is located in the eastern part of Tochigi Prefecture. This town, with a population of 28,000 people, has the Nakagawa River, Mount Yamizo, and other rich natural marvels, and was a castle town that exudes history and culture. When summer comes here to Nasu, Karasuyama, it is the liveliest time of the year. It is the start of the Yamaage festival that has been handed down from ancient days. The Yamaage festival is held over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on the 4th week of July in the city center of Karasuyama of Nasu, Karasuyama city, and is designated by the Japanese government as an important intangible folk cultural property that is composed of the Karasuyama Yamaage Gyoji and the Yakumo Jinja sacred palanquin. The Yamaage Gyoji, or ritual, is said to be the biggest outdoor kabuki performance in Japan. Stage equipment is set up on public streets such as the Oyama, which is more than 100 meters deep and taller than 10 meters. They are used as the backdrop scenery to perform the outdoor kabuki buyo play. There are also a number of performances each day that move around the city center, so performances are given on a movable stage. The start of the Yamaage Gyoji goes back about 450 years to the 3rd year of the Eiroku period, 1560 AD, when the lord of Karasuyama at that time enshrined the Gozu Tenno-sha, later to become the Yakumo Jinja shrine, to pray to drive away a plague that was spreading in the castle town and abundant harvest and peace in the kingdom. He held sumo wrestling, Kagura Shinto music, lion dances, and other items as offerings, and this is believed to be how this festival started. In later years, bamboo was weaved into wickerwork, pasted with layers of traditional Japanese washi paper, a local specialty, to draw a landscape that would serve as the backdrop of spectacular outside kabuki buyo plays that would eventually be performed. One of the characteristics of the Yamaage is the rotating chairmanship, where the role of the town running the festival is taken on by one of the 6 towns over a 6-year rotation. This is the town that will be in charge of the Yamaage Gyoji. It's night. After finishing work at each of their companies, these young people gather at the Yamaage Ushokan building near the Yamaage Kaikan Center. They are the Wakashu of Motota town, the town that will run the festival this year. The Wakushu are a part of the Yakumo Shrine Parishioner Organization, which is an absolute vertical segmented organization. The Wakashu is separated into the Gohai, Butai, Sashiki, Matsunami, Yakata, Maeyama, Nakayama, Oyama, and the Performing Arts team, and there's a chief assigned to each team. Here is one of the Motota town Wakashu, Mr. Masayuki Sato, 24 years old. Born and raised here in Karasuyama, he grew up watching the Yamaage festival ever since he was a child, and so he's a true Yamaage man, to the core. Mr. Sato works in the family business with his father, Kazunobu, at the local woodworking shop.
ちっちゃい頃から祭りを見てて、やりたい、一緒になって混ざってやりたいっていうのがあって、とりあえずもう若い市に入りたかった。そうですね、もうちっちゃい頃から親父はもう若い市として動いてて、で気が知らんなり世話人になりっていう感じだったんで、もう本当に祭りに関してはさすがだなっていう感じで思ってますね。
この烏山の山あげっていうのはですね、もう御拝主任、大山主任、そして木頭なんていうのはもう誰も憧れるんですけども、自分で勝ち取ったっていうとちょっとあれなんですけどもね、木頭になれまして、で世話人になれて、今は中老の筆頭ということをやってこられたんですけども、もう本当に一年中頭の中はお祭りで、それだけで仕事はちょこっとやって、後の間はもうお祭りのことしか頭になかったかなって今振り返ると。
As we see with Mr. Sato's family, many of the people that live here have deeply rooted ties to the yamaage. It makes one feel that this passion grew into love for their homeland. June 6th, the second festival organizers' meeting for all towns was held at an inn in the town of Motota, with its turn to run the festival this year. The wakashu, organizers of each town, direct the yamaage festival as a whole, meet to talk about preparations for the festival. As the meeting draws to a close, the town running this year's festival, Motota Town, formally introduces their wakashu kigashira and sub-kigashira. Kigashira. This is the highly coveted role that the wakashu dream of becoming. June 14th, with the building of the yama coming together at the Yamaage Ushokan building, the day for the yamaage practice run is here. The bamboo is the frame of the yama, when the picture of the mountain is pasted on with Karasuyama special Japanese washi paper called harika and installed. Wakashu predecessors from previous years come to provide support and advice.
再来週のリハーサルに向けて、いろいろトラブルもあったんですが、今日のうち分かってよかったなとは思ってますね。1回で決まるのもなかなかないので、早めにできてよかったかなと思いますよね。
Thanks to the support of all the wakashu and the predecessors, the preparation of the yama and stage is on schedule. Another major character in kabuki that cannot be missing from the play are the odoriko dancers. A practice room for dancers is set up inside the Yamaage Kaikan Center, where about 30 dancers from children to adults are working hard on their dance practice. There are two dancers that particularly stand out among them, Miss Haruka Fujita and Miss Emika Watanabe. They are both in the same grade from the local junior high school.
年長さんぐらいから入って正式に舞台に立ったのは1年生ぐらいだと思う。小学校の1年生です。誘われました、はーちゃんに。クラスが一緒でね、わーみたいな。ほとんど一緒だったよね。昔から続いてるお祭りだから、そこに自分が立ててることが尊敬できます。やっぱりやってて楽しいです。なんかみんなで楽しく練習して舞台に立っていることが。
中学生にもなれば主役もね演じられるようになってきて体もできてくるので、良きライバルとして高めていってくれると思います。
This makes us look forward from now to see what kind of dance these two will show on stage at the actual festival. June 23rd, evening. Preparations for the yamaage are being made at the Yamaage Ushokan building. But for some reason, there seems to be some tension in the air. Actually, this is the day that the leading organizer, Mr. Matsumoto, will officially announce the assignments for chiefs of teams for the yamaage.
佐藤正幸、あなたを前山主任に任命します。お願いします。斉藤秀人殿、あなたを大山主任に任命します。
Mr. Sato was assigned his long-sought role of chief of the yama, in charge of the Mai-yama. It is a busy team during yamaage performances that is as busy as the butai and yakata. With the team assignments being set, the wakashu focus their efforts to peak levels as they work toward the actual day of the yamaage. June 28th. A rehearsal open to the public is held before the actual festival on the main street in front of the Yamaage Kaikan Center. All of the teams will assemble the yama and stage in the same way as they would for the actual festival. The gohai is carried out of the Yamaage Kaikan Center after being put away for a year. Once the gohai arrives at the performance site, it is connected to the jinguruma, which will serve as the stage. The decorative portion has a unique function that is unusual in Japan called the soroban, which slides to the sides to quickly transform into the stage for the yamaage gyoji. In today's rehearsal, the shamisen songs and dances for the tokiwazu performers are coordinated with the performing arts team of the Karasuyama Yamaage Preservation Society. The stage performance develops according to the flow of kabuki, while they try to recall what was done the last time they ran the festival 6 years ago.
まあね、主要ポストについてるメンバーは6年前も一度主任やってますんで、まあテキパキとした動きで、まあ別に問題はないかなと思ってるんです。
And so the rehearsal ends without incident. July 1st, tonight, a Hokokusai report festival is held where the title of the kabuki and buyo dance that will be performed in this year's yamaage is shared throughout the town. The title of the performance is written on the side of mini yatai carts that are paraded around town. Children also pull the mini yatai cart, a scene that just brings a smile to your face. July 23rd, the evening before the first day of the festival, the wakashu and the people involved with the festival gather at the venue in Motota town to officially inaugurate the site. After this, the festival eve kasazore is held in front of the venue. The wakashu start preparations of the stage floats. The kasazore is not considered an actual festival day, but it is an important stage performance to pray for a successful 3-day festival. The success of the actual festival largely depends on how well the kasazore stage performance is performed. Nature is something that no one can control. The wakashu are mercilessly drenched by rain. In the yamaage, sudden evening shower bursts are almost a part of the festival, and it strikes now. However, everyone perseveres and keeps working on preparations for the kasazore. The chief calls out instructions from inside the tarp to shield them from the rain. As the time for the start of the kasazore performance nears, it's as though everyone's hopes were answered as the rain stopped splendidly. The time to start is here, and the kasazore performance starts without any issues. The first performance is the Kodakara Sambaso. Then the performance continues with the main act, Masakado, and the kasazore performance ends successfully.
まして初めての主任ということでいろいろバタバタしてもっと余裕を持ってできるようになんないとダメですねって思いました。はい、今日はもう正直疲れたって感じですね。はい。
July 24th, the morning of the first day of the yamaage. Mr. Sato is getting dressed. Praying for a safe and successful 3 days, hands are clasped together to the home shrine. As an official wakashu and the chief of the Maeyama, he will take his first step to properly fulfill the role as a man that was born in Karasuyama. In the morning, the wakashu gather at the Yakumo Jinja shrine. The Goshintai, object containing the spirit of the deity, enshrined in Yakumo Jinja shrine, is moved into a sacred palanquin, and the ritual shutsugo is performed to carry the object to an okariya, which is a temporary shrine set up in the town center. The sacred palanquin is prepared following the signal given by the kigashira, with spectators and the other townships watching the wakashu. They pride themselves in finishing the sacred palanquin skillfully and beautifully, as it is also a tradition. The sacred palanquin is carried by the wakashu down a stone block stairway to be paraded around town, and eventually makes its way to the okariya, where the sacred palanquin is enshrined. After enshrining the sacred palanquin in the okariya, the first yamaage to be presented to the deity is called the tenno date. Perhaps it was due to experiencing the kasazore from the previous night, but the wakashu work on the preparations more readily. There are foldable fixtures on the traffic signs in the Karasuyama city center. Ingenuity has been applied to keep the signs from interfering with the yama and to raise and lower the yama. The sub-kigashira gives the signal to raise the oyama. The wakashu work together in unison to raise the oyama. The wooden clappers of the kigashira resounds. Then the tenno date stage scene starts. The act is the masakado that was touched on in the Hokokusai report festival. The story entitled Masakado takes place after the death of Taira no Masakado. Under orders given by Minamoto no Yoritomo, Oyataro Mitsukuni is dispatched to hunt down the remnants of the Masakado clan, and he meets a celestial beauty by the name of Kisaragi there. Kisaragi hears about the fall of the Masakado and starts to cry at the demise of her father. Kisaragi tries to seduce the warrior, but drops the banner of the Soma Nishiki battle flag, which is a keepsake of the Masakado. Mitsukuni is convinced that the lady is the daughter of Masakado, Princess Takayasha. A spectacular Tachimaori fighting scene ensues, but the Princess Takayasha uses magic to disappear without a trace, and this is the story of this act. The highlight of the performance is the ogama that appears at the beginning. During the climax scenes, the kirikaishi, backdrop switch of the yama, turning of the yakata, the seriage, raising of the clouds, and the collapse of the yakata are just some of the various contraptions of the stage. There are also other plays planned, such as the Hebi Hime-sama and Modoribashi, to entertain the visitors. Once the tenno date is successfully done in front of the okariya, the stage and yama are cleaned up and packed to prepare for the move to the next performance location. They have to do the work expeditiously, as being late for the scheduled time for the next performance would be an embarrassment to their town. The wakashu, pulling the yatai carts, and the kigashira change into yukata and head to the town for the next performance. This is called homon, or visit. At the border to the next town, the community association board members, leaders of Yakumo, mid-senior elders, and the wakashu line both sides of the road, and 4 organizers stand in line in the middle of the road to welcome the town running this year's festival. The leading organizer of the town running the festival and the town being visited greet one another, and the procession is welcomed into the town, guided by the organizers of the town being visited. During these visits, in order to keep ill will and misfortune at bay, the shakujo staff and clappers are resounded as they walk, and children called the kanabo hiki walk in front of the yatai cart leading the way. The position to set the yatai cart near the venue being visited is decided, and the building of the yatai cart starts. And this is how the stage of the yamaage is moved repeatedly for performances up to as many as 6 locations in one day, in the blazing sun of midsummer and even being struck with evening rain shower bursts. The wakashu, tokiwazu, and odoriko dancers give the performances for the sake of the guests who have come to watch the show. The Yamaage Gyoji is an extreme and scorching festival with few equals even in all of Japan. The performances at night have a different kind of beauty compared to daytime shows. The Harikayama that rises high in the night sky. The enchanting features of the kabuki stage and the fireworks show, among other facets, are the highlights that do not allow the spectators to feel bored. The first day of performances are done successfully without a hitch. In the early morning hours of the second day of the festival, the wakashu of the town of Nakamachi, who will have their turn to run the festival in 2 years, perform the togyo on the palanquin of Yakumo Jinja Shrine. Carrying the deity, the sacred palanquin leaves the Okariya, temporary shrine, and is taken around to each town in Karasuyama city center to bring about good harvest, good health, and safety for the family. 9 a.m. Even though it is the first performance of the day, many visitors have packed the venue. Backstage before the performance is just about to start, Emika and Haruka are having fun talking to each other. I wonder if they feel nervous. In today's stage performance of Masakado, the role of Mitsukuni is to be performed by Miss Emika Watanabe. The crowd cheers Emika on as she plays the starring role. This is surely a moment of sheer bliss for her as a stage performer. Haruka also makes her appearance playing the role of a retainer of Mitsukuni. They also perform the Otachimaori fighting scene with Princess Takayasha. These girls perform on the stage at such a young age assures the tradition of the yamaage that has a history of over 450 years will carry on to the future. Day 2. Once the 5th show of the day is over, the wakashu immediately start work on breaking down the stage and yama. Normally, the visitors start moving over to the location of the next show, but this time they stay. The reason they stay is to watch the hand-carried move, a tradition in which the wakashu carry the foundation and parts of the yama by hand. Normally, the gohai, jinguruma, or other contraptions are used to carry the equipment, but when the location of the next show is close enough, the hand-carried move is performed. The figure of the men lifting the heavy foundations and sandbags over shoulders while running at full speed is gallant and manly. The crowd of visitors go wild with roaring applause and cheer for the wakashu's valiant prowess. Then, through the synchronized power and teamwork of the wakashu, the stage is erected and the final show of the second day ends successfully. The last day, the morning sun shines bright. The wakashu have gathered at the venue and start to make preparations. Showing no signs of fatigue, the look on everyone's faces is invigorated.
数揃えの初日のあれは結構最初ビビりましたけど、でもやっぱりやっていくうちにやればやっぱみんな成長するんだなと思いましたね。多分1日多くても1日少なくてもこれはまた違うんかなと思いますね。この3日間っていうのがみんなの一つになるあれかなって思います。
As Mr. Sato said, when we get to the final day of the festival, the work efficiency of the wakashu is quite impressive. Each person fulfills their role, working together to assemble the stage. We can see all the wakashu unite to become a single entity. As late afternoon arrives, each town's children's sacred palanquins and yatai carts are lined up in front of the okariya. The kangyo is held as the deities come home to Yakumo Jinja Shrine. The wakashu of Kanai Town, who will run the festival next year, will be in charge of this kangyo. The sacred palanquin starts from the front of the gate of the Yakumo Jinja Shrine and is paraded around each town to enter the Yakumo Jinja Shrine grounds at around midnight. The yatai carts of each town gather in front of the gate to see the sacred palanquins off. This is where the ohayashi musicians of each town start playing a piece called bunnuki together. The sounds of the flute, taiko drums, and bells clash together to resonate. The wakashu shout calls, bringing about an extraordinary excitement filling the space surrounded by the yatai carts. The visitors from young to old are captivated by the joint performance of the hayashi musicians. The sounds of the ohayashi continues for about 30 minutes, echoing throughout the town. At 9 p.m., after the sun has set, the wakashu of Motota Town moves to the location of the final show called the kasanuki. This is the final show. Preparations are made to make the yamaage run smoothly and make it a success. The final preparations are coming along nicely, and Mr. Sato shares a toast with his comrades. He receives words of thanks such as, "This was so much fun. Thanks to you, Chief. Thank you," from his comrades, which makes him so happy that he starts to tear up. His full year of hard work was rewarded. Just then, the Kigashira was looking at the venue with a grim expression on his face. Maybe a problem has occurred. The simultaneous raising of the yama is so difficult that it is very rarely attempted. But as this is the Kigashira's last show, he gave the orders to raise 4 backdrops simultaneously. Normally, the sequence is the yakata, the maiyama, the nakayama, and finally the oyama is raised. When doing this, more people are needed, so they bring in wakashu from other yama to assist. However, to raise 4 backdrops simultaneously, all of the backdrops must be raised with little manpower that is available. In the end, were they short on manpower? Were they able to succeed in their attempt? However, the Kigashira has made his decision and strikes the wooden clappers. The yama rises high. They succeed in splendid fashion. A thunderous applause comes from the crowd. More than anything, this was done for the people that come to watch. The Kigashira made the call to raise 4 yama simultaneously. In addition, each of the chiefs and wakashu that promptly respond to the inspiration of the Kigashira through their determination that pulled together the stage for the final day of the festival. Finally, the last play of Sekinoto and Oimatsu starts. Oimatsu, being the final show of the festival, is danced by Senshinami Nishikawa, the teacher herself. And finally, the Kigashira of Motota Town that ran the festival this year brings the stage performances to an official close with tejime, ceremonial rhythmic clapping. Just about the time that the date changes, in front of the Yasaka Jinja Shrine Gate, the Kangyo, sacred palanquin that had been repeating U-turns, finally make its way through the gates into the shrine grounds. At this moment, Nasu, Karasuyama City declares the end of the scorching festival. It is morning, a peaceful morning. The town is silent and still, as if the liveliness and the festival of the previous day had never happened. Certainly it was yesterday, where this is where the young people, with sweat flowing, tears flowing, and giving their all to raise the yama high up into the sky. The yamaage gyoji that has been passed down from about 450 years ago to Nasu Karasuyama has been handed down from parents to children and children to grandchildren over many generations. It is a precious tradition that has been maintained and protected together with the region and comrades that have and share the same passionate feelings, and it is a cultural heritage. We often hear about young people turning away from festivals all over Japan in recent years, due to diversification of sense of values and changes in lifestyles and other factors. Even for the Karasuyama Yamaage Gyoji, securing human resources and developing more young people is also an issue. However, when you see with your own eyes the passion of these young people and the kindness of the people in the region that support them, it gives you hope that this Yamaage tradition might always continue to be passed on, even in the future.
皆様のご協力のことだと思っておりますので、一言言わせてください。若衆のみんな、お前ら最高だ。俺は大好きだぞ。乾杯。
パーフェクトでしょ。パーフェクト。みんなのおかげ。みんなが俺のこと盛り上げてくれてやってくれたからだけど、俺は全員大好きだ。俺は烏丸に生まれてよかったと思うし、生まれたからできたでしょ。それでは皆様お手を拝借よー。
とりあえず終わって正直ホッとしたっていうところがありますし、逆に終わっちゃって寂しいなっていう気持ちはあるんですが、親父に言われた言葉が若いしの中で一番楽しそうにやってたって言われてそれは嬉しかったですね、正直。はい、どこに行ってもやっぱり拍子木を持ってる人ってすごくかっこよく見えて、で自分の親父も昔拍子木を持って木頭をやってて、そのちっちゃい頃目標にしてたのはやっぱ木頭ですね。早くてですけどね、早くて12ですね。早くて遅くて18ですね。自分にとっての山あげ祭りはもう生きる道です。